Let me paint a picture for you. It's the end of the month. You check your bank account, and somehow, again, there's barely anything left. And the frustrating part? You didn't go on a vacation. You didn't make any big purchases. You didn't do anything crazy. You just lived. And somehow, living cost you everything you made. That feeling, that quiet, low-grade anxiety that creeps in every time you open your banking app. I know it. A lot of people know it. And what makes it worse is that nobody around you is really talking about it honestly. Everyone seems fine on the outside. Everyone seems like they've got it together. But the numbers in your account tell a completely different story. So here's what I want to do today. I want to have an honest conversation, not a lecture, not a list of things you're doing wrong, but a real conversation about the habits that are silently draining your financial life. Because I've spent the last decade deep in the world of finance. A degree in finance, a qualification in accounting, years working in investment banking. And through all of that, the most valuable thing I actually learned wasn't about the markets. It wasn't about spreadsheets or valuations. It was about myself, my own relationship with money, my own bad habits, and how quietly destructive they were before I even noticed them. So let's get into it. 9 bad money habits, and more importantly, how Finn actually broke free from them.
Before we even get to habit number 1, I want to say something that I think gets skipped over too often in these kinds of videos. Most people aren't broke because they're irresponsible. They're not struggling because they lack discipline or because they don't care enough. The reason most people feel financially stuck is because nobody ever taught them how money actually works. And on top of that, the entire system around us, the way banking works, the way credit cards are designed, the way advertising is built, all of it is engineered to pull money away from you, quietly, consistently, in ways you might not even notice until it's already gone. So, if you've been hard on yourself about your finances, I want you to pause on that for a second. Understanding why you developed certain habits is just as important as changing them, because once you see the pattern clearly, breaking it becomes so much more natural. All right, let's start from the top.
Habit 1. Paying yourself last. There's a concept I came across years ago, and it genuinely changed the way I think about money. It comes from Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and the idea is simple but powerful. Most people, when their paycheck lands, immediately start paying everyone else first. The landlord, the phone company, the subscription services, the dinner plans. And then, if there's anything left, then they save. That's what Finn used to do. And the problem is, there's almost never anything left. Life has a way of filling whatever space you give it. The shift is this. What if the very first thing you did, before rent, before bills, before anything, was pay yourself? 10% minimum. The moment that money hits your account, you move it. Not because you're rich, not because you have it all figured out, but because you deserve to be first in line for your own income. It sounds almost too simple, but the psychological effect of it is enormous. It stops being save what's left and becomes spend what's left. And that's a completely different game.
Habit 2. Getting comfortable with bad debt. Debt has become so normalized that most people don't even flinch at it anymore. Buy now, pay later. Put it on the card. It's just how things work now. And I get it. Credit isn't inherently evil. There's good debt, like a mortgage that builds equity over time, or an investment in yourself that generates income. But bad debt? The kind you accumulate buying things that lose value the second you own them. That's a slow financial leak that most people don't even notice. Until it's a flood. The rule Finn lives by is this. If I can't afford to pay for it outright, right now in cash, I probably shouldn't be buying it on credit. Because here's what credit card companies don't put in the ads. The average credit card interest rate is sitting around 22%. Think about that for a second. Every financial benefit, every cashback reward, every point they dangle in front of you, all of it gets completely wiped out the moment you carry a balance. They're not offering you rewards because they like you. They're offering them because they're betting you won't pay it off. Habit 3. Not having an emergency fund. This one is less talked about, but I think it's one of the most emotionally important habits on this list. Life is unpredictable. A job loss, a health issue, a car breakdown at the worst possible time. And when those things happen, and eventually something will, if you have no financial cushion, you're forced into bad decisions. You put it on a credit card, you borrow from someone, you make a panicked choice you wouldn't normally make. An emergency fund isn't a luxury. It's the foundation. Before you invest, before you think about growing your wealth, you need that buffer. Ideally, somewhere between 3 to 6 months of your living expenses sitting somewhere accessible. And the way to build it? You go back to habit 1. You pay yourself first. That 10% starts stacking, and at some point, it becomes a wall between you and financial chaos. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen, and when it does, the way you walk through the world changes. There's a quietness that comes with knowing you have a safety net. Habit 4. Not knowing your numbers. Here's a question I want you to sit with for a second and be honest with yourself. Do you actually know how much money comes in each month? Do you know exactly where it goes? Not roughly, not kind of, exactly. If the answer is no, you're not alone. Most people have a vague sense of their finances, and that vagueness is expensive. There's something called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the sneakiest traps out there. The more money you make, the more you spend. A raise comes in and suddenly the apartment you loved feels a little too small. You upgrade the car. The dinners get a little nicer. It's gradual. It's almost invisible. And before you know it, you're earning double what you used to and somehow still feeling just as stretched. The people who actually build wealth, they know their numbers. Not obsessively, but clearly. They know what's coming in, what's going out, what they own, and what they owe. Because you can't navigate to a destination you can't see on a map. Just writing it down, even once, seeing those numbers in black and white, changes something. It triggers something. You start making different decisions without even trying to, because you can't unsee what you've now seen. Habit 5. Having expensive hobbies you can't afford. All right, this one I want to handle gently because I'm not here to tell you to stop enjoying your life. That's not the point of any of this. But there's a difference between spending on things that genuinely bring you joy and spending on things that just feel like an extension of your identity or your social circle. Shopping as a hobby. Dining out 5 nights a week, not because you love food, but because it's just what everyone does. Traveling on credit, just to keep up with what your feed looks like. I've been there. And what I've found is that a lot of those expenses weren't actually making me happier. They were filling a gap. And filling that gap with spending is one of the most expensive emotional habits a person can have. The question worth asking isn't, can I afford this? It's, does this actually add to my life in a way that's worth the cost? Sometimes the answer is yes, and that's fine. But sometimes when you really sit with it, the answer surprises you. Habit 6. Focusing only on saving and ignoring income. This one is important, and I think it gets lost in a lot of personal finance conversations. Saving matters, absolutely. But saving has a ceiling. There's only so much you can cut. At some point, you've trimmed the subscriptions, you've meal prepped, you've done everything, and you've still hit a wall. The other side of the equation, the income side, has no ceiling. It's infinite. There's no upper limit to what you can earn. And that's not me selling you some hustle culture fantasy. It's just math. Whether it's asking for the raise you've been putting off, developing a skill that makes you more valuable, starting something on the side, even small, the point is that building wealth requires you to think about both sides, growing income and managing spending. One without the other will only take you so far. Saving is the foundation. Income is the engine. Habit 7. Paying more tax than you have to. Now, before anyone misunderstands me, I'm not talking about anything illegal. I want to be clear about that. What I'm talking about is something that wealthy people understand very well, and most regular people don't. The tax system has legal structures built into it that are designed to help you reduce what you owe. And not using them? It's like leaving money on the table every single year. Things like investing through a tax-sheltered account, whether that's an ISA if you're in the UK, or a Roth IRA if you're in the US, where your gains and dividends are protected from tax. Or understanding how operating through a business structure can legally change your tax picture. These aren't loopholes, they're doors that are open to everyone. Most people just don't know they exist. And here's the thing. Even if you're someone who genuinely believes in paying their full tax contribution, understanding these rules still matters, because you get to choose where that money goes. You can redirect the savings toward causes and things that align with your values, rather than just defaulting to wherever the system sends it. Habit 8. Waiting too long to invest. There's a version of this that almost everyone goes through. You know you should be investing. You've heard about compound interest. You understand conceptually that time in the market matters. And yet, you keep waiting. Until you have more money. Until you understand it better. Until the timing feels right. And the problem with waiting is that time is the one thing you can't get back. Inflation is real. Money sitting in a standard savings account is, in a very quiet and painless feeling way, losing value every single year. The prices around you go up, the purchasing power of your money goes down, and doing nothing is a financial decision. It's just one that works against you. Once you have your emergency fund in place, once you have that buffer, start looking at what your money can do when it's working for you. You don't need to become an expert overnight. You don't need to pick individual stocks. But getting started, even modestly, even imperfectly, is infinitely better than waiting for the perfect moment that never actually arrives. Habit 9. Living without a financial identity. This last one isn't talked about enough, and I think it might be the most important one on this list. A financial identity is simply knowing who you are with money, what your values are, what you're building toward, what kind of life you actually want, not the one you think you're supposed to want. Without that clarity, you're just reacting. You spend when you're stressed, you save when you feel guilty, you invest when everyone else is excited about something, and you end up building a financial life that doesn't actually belong to you. It's just a reflection of your environment, your emotions, and everyone else's expectations. The people who genuinely change their financial trajectory, they have a sense of direction. Not a rigid plan, not a perfect spreadsheet. Just a clear enough picture of where they're going that the everyday decisions start to make more sense. Here's what I want you to take from all of this, because I think it's easy to watch something like this and feel overwhelmed. 9 things, 9 habits. Where do you even start? And the honest answer is, you start with 1. Because the real shift in financial well-being isn't about doing everything perfectly at the same time. It's about developing awareness. Once you can see a habit, it loses some of its power over you. You start noticing it in real time, the impulse purchase, the debt you're rationalizing, the number you've been avoiding looking at. And noticing it is the first step to changing it. Money is deeply emotional. It's tied to security, to identity, to how we were raised and what we were taught, and what we were never taught. Most of the habits on this list aren't failures of character. They're patterns. Patterns that can be interrupted and rebuilt one decision at a time. So here's what I'd actually encourage you to do this week. Just this week. Nothing overwhelming. Pick one of these 9. Just one. The one that resonates most. The one where you felt a little something when I mentioned it. That quiet recognition. Start there. If it's habit 1, paying yourself last, set up an automatic transfer, even if it's small, even if it's just $50 or 50 pounds. Automate it so you don't have to think about it. Make yourself first in line. If it's habit 4, not knowing your numbers, open a note on your phone or a simple spreadsheet and just write down what comes in and what goes out this month. Don't judge it. Just see it. If it's habit 8, if you've been waiting to invest, spend 30 minutes this week just researching your options. A tax-sheltered account, a low-cost index fund. Just 30 minutes of genuine curiosity. That's enough to start. Progress doesn't require perfection. It just requires motion.
I want to end with this. If you're watching this and your finances aren't where you want them to be, that's okay. Really. It doesn't mean you're behind. It doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're at a starting point. And every starting point is valid. The fact that you're here, watching this, thinking about this, that already puts you ahead of where you were yesterday. And that matters more than people give it credit for. Money is a tool. And like any tool, how well it works for you depends on how well you understand it. The more you learn, the more you see. And the more you see, the more control you have, not just over your finances, but over your time, your choices, your peace of mind. That's what FinSense is really about. Not getting rich quick, not following someone else's formula, but building a relationship with money that actually works for your life. So take it one habit at a time, 1 month at a time, and trust that small, consistent, honest effort, compounded over time, always adds up to something real. I'm Finn. This is FinSense, and I'll see you in the next one.